We are part of the Fired Up Sports Network of shows. Please check out other Fired Up Sports Network podcasts like the P-Lot Pod, Water Cooler Talk, Bell Smashers, Philly Sports Love and Pain, Drunk on Broad, Beer Battered Sports, and the Fired Up Sports Show, which are available on all major podcasting hosting sites and social media. Also, check out Mark Ramos' Roundup on firedupsports.com, which breaks down the happenings going on with all your favorite local teams.
Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions.
E-A-G-L-E-S Eagles!
Swinging a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Flyers are going to win the Stanley Cup. The Flyers win the Stanley Cup for the lead. Yes! Iverson, wow, what a fake off Daniels as he broke his ankles and got all the way to the cup.
What a...
Oh, yeah, the birds are back in town. The birds are back.
It's been a little bit of a minute, but listen, we're checking in.
Right.
We're kind of at a really good sweet spot, right? Because we got it's the eve before the last preseason game,
How crazy is that?
right? And we're days away from the opener against the Cowboys, which
Yeah,
will also
boy.
be. We're going to talk a little bit of fantasy. We're going to recap some good and some concerns from training camp. But talk to me about where you're at overall feel before we kind of jump into back and forth with the training camp.
Don, yeah, I'm excited, bud. Like, it's time for football to be back. Riding the Phillies' coattails all summer long. Watching just preseason football. I threw a few games on this weekend and just watching and enjoying just football being back. I'm not in a sense of alarm, not in a sense of panic, more of a sense of, watching the preseason games, and I'm just like, well, this is what you expect from, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth stringers. Um, I'm not taking too much like from it. Like a lot of
Yeah,
people are, oh, 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 oh. I'm more just, yeah, McCullum's out there trying to cover somebody. Cool. Or I don't know, our fifth string defensive lineman, is getting bullied. Cool. Like what is there? Like what is there to really get like
yeah,
over like upset about? Like I'm just happy football's back and you're seeing a lot of the young guys, Jihad Campbell looking like an absolute monster.
yeah.
Um you're seeing what the cornerback room has which is, it's a little sus, but could be worse. And you're just listening to things out of training camp. And that's pretty much what I've been doing is just like keeping my ear to it, listening to what the coaches are saying, and just not putting too many eggs in one basket. This defense is going to look a lot different when you put all of our all pros and pro bowlers back out there.
I,
it's going to look a lot different.
listen, Rich. I will tell you the go-to daily pod was Ruben Frank and Dave Zingaro doing the daily pods from training camp was like it was really good to kind of like keep up with it, right? Obviously, because they're down there every day. But I'm like,
Yep.
kudos to them, right? They're doing daily pods, the trades for Ja'Cory and Bennett and John Mechie, right? They're doing the emergency pod. So that, some really great coverage from them, keeping us kind of dialed in. But I'll tell you what, let's start with some positives. The guy you just mentioned, Jahai Campbell,
It's just fucking monster.
right? Like you're seeing him now, right? The reports out of practice, seeing him on the field with Zach Bond, taking pretty much all the first team reps,
As he
um,
should.
as he should, right? Because as good as Jeremiah, the shame is that Jeremiah Trotter Jr. really didn't do anything bad to lose the job. It's just that he's in a position where Jahad Campbell is just that much more of a freak athlete
Yeah.
that you can't not put him on the field. Like I heard somebody talking today about like, oh, do you create packages for Jeremiah Trotter? I'm going, I don't envision a scenario where you
No.
take him off, where you willingly take him off the field. Um, and I'm, and for a guy who, when he got drafted, right, the talk was, all right, let's see where he is in August. The conversations we had earlier were a
Yep.
lot about Cooper DeJean, right? The kind of the track that he had, and then training camp started, and he's out there day one in
Mhm.
pads, ready to go. And everything that we caught glimpses of in preseason games and from practice is like he just stands out like a sore thumb. Like
Oh yeah.
he shouldn't be on the field with the guys that he's playing with because of his elite level of talent.
Yeah. No, I mean, and you look at his just the tape that he's putting out there. He's in the right position. The first game they said his pad level had to get lower, and then you see that in the second game. Like every adjustment that had to be made, it's he was scary in the first preseason game. Then in the second one, it was a whole another animal. So the kid's a student of the game, and he's just in the right position at all times. It's
Right.
not a knock to Jeremiah Trotter. I like Jeremiah Trotter, but he can't separate himself from Jihad Campbell because he doesn't have the same intangibles that Jihad Campbell has. I mean, that's no slight against Trotter. It's just you see the comparison from 1A to 1D, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Jeremiah did everything that he could. Misses some tackles, in the preseason. You're kind of like, all right, it's going to happen.
Right.
But insert Jihad Campbell, who's making all the stops, being in position where he needs to be, and his athleticism is off the chart.
Yeah. Listen.
One missed tackle might hurt your chances of seeing the field because the guy behind you or the guy who was behind you isn't missing those.
Right.
So
And when
it's
you look at
tough.
that room now, like that room, it has a lot of depth, right? When you look at another guy that they drafted in Smile Mondon, right,
Yeah.
who in years past might have been you might have been in the conversation to get the number one reps, and now he's playing behind Jahad Campbell, playing behind Jeremiah Trotter Jr.
Yeah.
Right, but those are two guys, and we've seen this in the past that those are two guys that will absolutely be guys that contribute on special teams. Those are guys, and the more that you can strengthen those spots
Yep.
on those teams,
And
makes
that
it a
was
lot easier to have those conversations about playing time.
And that was huge. Like that was a hole for us last year with special
Mhm.
teams. It's always been a hole because you sacrifice talent when you have such a talented offense and a talented defense. You can't put those starters out there to play special teams, and you can only carry X amount of guys. So
Right.
now you have depth and you have young athletic playmakers that makes your special teams better and it gives them a chance to make a name for themselves. Like you can be a Pro Bowl special teamer. If you're that good, this is what happens. So it sets them up for success rather than the failure of just, all right, we're going to practice squad these guys. It's like, no, there is a place for you.
Right.
And you better be ready with the next man up attitude if something were to happen. Knock on wood. Hopefully it doesn't. But I like where this team is headed, and I like the youth and the depth that they have in multiple positions. That a lot of these guys can step in and be more than serviceable, rather than okay, if one guy goes down, are we going to have to hit the free agent market and grab a veteran to do it, like the Oren Burks of last year?
Yeah.
Are we going to get lucky and find the Oren Burks? Like so,
Yeah.
my
I
area
think
concern, like I'm scared of, is still that safety spot because did Macumba get hurt again?
yeah. So I mean, we can jump right to that, like the question marks at safety, right? Because you're talking about Sidney Brown, you're talking about you know, with the second, third team.
Yeah.
But the Makuba injuries, that I would lie, I would be lying if I told you that wasn't a concern because you look at right in the span of training camp has had two hamstring injuries. That doesn't that's an injury that lingers, right?
Yeah.
And you see what they're doing with AJ Brown with the hamstring, right? Just put him on the shelf. Don't really need to worry about him
Hmm.
necessarily. He'll be ready for day one when they lace him up against the Cowboys. But I'm looking at this and going, that's a move that I could see them kind of looking outside the organization to see what's
Yeah.
available.
I,
Um,
I'm
I
I'm
know
ready
that
for
the Eagles,
Justin Simmons to come aboard.
yeah,
I
I mean,
I and
that's a
it's
move that will cost you nothing, right? And the two moves that they've made, right, in acquiring Ja'Cory and Bennett and acquiring, John Mechie, you really didn't give up much, and the Eagles have a ton of draft capital
yeah.
that they're going to use for assets for in the season. You know that they're not going to
Yeah.
draft 13 guys next year. So I'm looking at this and going edge, edge depth is a spot where I could see them making a move. Safety, it is, and Justin Simmons is a guy that we've kind of. It seems like he's been flirting with the Eagles a lot, right? Um, but it wouldn't surprise me if that's a move that they decide, or that's a position that they decide to address. When teams start making cuts, when moves start getting made, that unless something else kind of shakes out, that's a position that they could go outside the organization.
Yeah, I'm just ready for a guy to come in and just help anchor down this spot. Sidney Brown, as much
Because
as
the
I
alternative is putting Cooper DeJean back there.
yeah, and I don't want to do that. I'm not
Right.
taking. We need our slot guy to be the best slot guy in the league.
Right.
Um, I don't want that to happen. What I really want to see is another vet come in until we can pretty much hit on a sure thing safety in the draft. I mean, I do like Makumba. I compared him to Bob Sanders, but he's proving me right to be Bob Sanders because Bob Sanders was 5'10" and always hurt.
Right.
So that's worrying to me. And it sucks because last preseason game and preseason game two, he had the fumble recovery and the interception. Like pick six. The kid looked good.
Yeah.
So
And you see the glimpses of what you kind of saw with him in college that he finds the ball or the ball finds him. But either
yeah.
way, he did a really good job at creating those takeaways. Um,
But the
I just
best stat is availability.
right.
And can you be
You're not
available?
making those plays if you're consistently battling the hamstring injuries.
Yeah.
Um,
And
I don't know.
McCullum ain't it. McCullum
Yeah,
ain't it. We know that. And Sidney
no,
Brown's another guy. He leads with his head. He's always hurt. Like we keep can we get like the wrong Brown anymore? Like or the wrong
in this
brother? Like
this
Jesus
defense
Christ.
with Fangio, it's just not the style that Vic Fangio wants to play. Right? Doesn't want
Yeah.
to like go all out and take chances. Right? Would rather you make the play underneath rather than try to make a splash play and because the position that it puts the defense in if you miss. If
Yep.
you miss, it's going to cost the team six. And he doesn't want to he's not that type of player, which I think where the hesitancy, but no one is really asserting themselves to really take over that role.
No.
Um I just I don't know. And the idea, right? I understand, wanting to be flexible with Cooper DeJean because he's one of your best defensive players, and you don't ever want to take him off the field. So, like, where you see him where he's taking reps at the opposite corner when they're in base, just in an opportunity to keep him on the field,
Yeah.
right? But I think he plays best in the middle of the field, which is
Yeah.
where I'm like safety and nickel. I'm like, okay, like you're in the middle of the field. That's where he's going to be his best. Um, but it's just the hard part is that CB2 and that safety. You were really looking for guys to assert themselves and really take a stranglehold over those positions. and you really didn't see anybody in either spot,
No.
right? And that again, that's where you saw them go outside the organization. They make the trade, for Ja'Cory and Bennett, who I think where he doesn't have the starting job now, I think that's only a matter of time before
Yeah.
he he just doesn't have the experience in the system to be able to kind of put himself in that. But I think with more experience, right, we saw that kind of last year with Jahan Dotson, right?
Yeah.
The further along he got into the year, the more and more comfortable he got.
Yeah.
Um, but again, see that cornerback position again would not surprise me if they went outside the organization for that. I think they are in. They know that the window is open. I think they know that they have the assets to make moves. Um, I just this doesn't seem like it's a position where Howie Roseman's going to sit on his hands.
No. And that's the thing. You have so much youth all over the board. You can trade some of these
I
picks
mean,
and grab some guys.
Rich, not for nothing, but Thomas Booker he was a player. He was
He
a
was
guy that
playing.
was going to be he was a guy that was going to be in your wasn't going to start for you, but he was going to be in your regular rotation.
Yeah, he was a rotational piece. It's not like they gave up nothing. They gave up a good rotational piece who played well
Right.
toward the end of the season last year. So you kind of look at it as okay. We got the corner statistically last year with the Raiders was decent. He was really good.
Yeah.
But it takes time to learn other team systems. Like we
Mhm.
acquired him after the first preseason game. Like let's cut the guy a break and see what he can do. I'm all about that. Just my concerns are we've seen what the safety position can do outside of Andrew, and it's just Jesus Christ, it's not much. But again, we also don't have Quinion. We also don't have Cooper out there. Our pass rush isn't generating anything. It's preseason. You have literally the best defensive tackle in the game, not on the field, and Jordan Davis not on the field,
Right.
Nolan Smith not on the field, your best linebacker not on the field, and your best safety and corner not on the field. So that's why it's like I want to kind of like chill myself out with the panic button, but it's like we know the area of concern
Yeah, I
and we
think
can make it better.
like when you look at how those quarterbacks played in that first game where you're playing against right the ones from Cincinnati, which
Yeah,
that's a whole separate conversation. I don't like Zach. He's out there trying to get Joe Burrow murdered, right?
yeah,
In a couple of those preseason games where Joe Burrow's getting tossed around is kind of nuts. But like you get an idea where it's like, all right, well, if he is going to start, he is going to play against T. Higgins. He is going to play against Jamar Chase. But it's not necessarily completely accurate, right? Because on the other side of the field would normally be Quinion Mitchell. In the back
yep,
end of that defense would normally be, right, Cooper DeJean in the slot, Reed Blankenship in the back, right? Jahad Campbell, Zach Ball, right? The dynamic of the defense looks very different when all
yes,
of those guys are on the field. So it's kind of hard to tell, but he's not making any friends because even in the joint practices in the one on ones, the Keely Ringos of the world have just been that that battle, right? We can put it in air quotes. That battle between Adoree Jackson and Keely Ringo has just left a lot to be desired because no one asserted themselves in
yeah.
any kind of direction at all.
No, it's all up in the air. I mean, it's
Yeah.
anybody's job to win, but it's like Jesus Christ, somebody has to be the victor. Um, but no
Right.
one's separating
And
themselves.
that's the
So what are you
concern,
going to
right?
do?
Because you're gonna go up against teams who are just gonna look at Quinion Mitchell on the one side and just go,
Yeah,
all right,
fuck
well
it.
we're
We'll throw
just
somebody, throw it elsewhere.
right. Like we're not gonna throw in the middle of the field because we know Zach Vaughn and we know Jahad Campbell and we know Reed Blankenship and we know Cooper DeJean are all in the mix.
Yeah,
All right, well, we're just gonna go pick on Dory Jackson. We're just gonna go pick on Keely Ringo.
yeah,
You're
and it,
gonna need and that's kind of that was the veteran leadership role that you got from Slay last year, where you didn't really have to worry about that other side. And that's kind of where that
You didn't
one,
have to worry about the other side, but you did at the same time. That
right?
was the issue with Slay. Slay had the name and the presence, but we seen our boy get burnt
Oh,
more times than not last
very
year.
much. But he was NFL
But you
serviceable,
didn't have to worry about it. I
right? It
understand what you're
wasn't a
saying.
worry about it.
But
So,
now it's like, fuck, we're worried.
right now it's like, oh, like if I'm looking at a couple Thursdays from now when when they're playing the Cowboys, I'm looking at going, all right, how do I again? I'm talking about the Cowboys, right? But if I'm them, I'm going, all right, well, how do I get CD Lamb on a Dory Jackson? How do I get CD Lamb on Keely Ringo? How do I get my best player lined up and matched up against their worst?
And they have George Pickens, who's apparently had an amazing
Yep.
training camp.
Hmm.
So you see how that goes. Like it's not a cakewalk, you know?
No.
Like I mean, I still think the Birds are going to destroy them because
Oh,
fuck Dallas. Fuck
right.
Dallas. They don't have a defense. I mean, they're going to
Not
pay
at all.
Micah Parsons
And
because he ain't
the
going to be the
word,
fuck out there. He ain't paying them.
I mean, the
So
word on the street is that that deal's not getting done before Thursday night. And
no,
if that deal ain't done, he ain't playing.
no. Let's be real.
Nor
They're
should he.
if I'm him, I'm not even playing anyway. Just fuck it, trade me. Who cares? I mean, they were like Duran Bland came out and said, "Yeah, I'm looking for an extension, and and we're almost to an agreement. They're talking to my agent. Like, you're gonna fucking extend Duran Bland? Like, they're extending everybody except their best player. It's fucking
They gave
amazing.
the extension to the tight end.
Yeah, Jake Ferguson got
Jake
one.
Ferguson got an extension. Like how have you not just locked yourself in a room and just been like, get
Yeah,
it done?
well,
You know,
because it's Jerry fucking Jones, and we already
right.
know. Go Birds.
Yeah, that's ah. All right.
We
More
we
positive.
already know Jerry Jones, bro. It's Jerry Jones.
Moro Ojomo.
What a start.
Everything out of camp looks like he's got the ability to be able to fill and slide right into that role that Milton Williams left when he left to go to
Yes, sir.
New England. Um, Having that consistency in the middle, they've got a lot of depth up the middle, right? Moro Ojomo, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter. You've seen some preseason highlights from Gabe Hall. You've
Yep.
seen some good plays from Ty Robinson. I really like what they have in the middle there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the middle's solid. Like that's something you're gonna look forward to. I just can't wait I can't wait to see the big man in action, all skinny now, Jordan Davis, and seeing that dude fly around the field.
Down
Um,
to 330.
that's fucking insane, dude. Like, so happy for him. They kept him out of the ice cream machine, so that's great. Um, you can't beat that. My man passed up on the goodies and started eating carrot sticks. Atta boy.
Oh
Atta
God.
boy. No, dude. I am so excited to see this
Mhm.
defense and see where, you know, when they're all out there to see this wrecking ball again, all this youth like Uche and
Ojolari.
Ojolari, like, dude, like they were doing decent in preseason, and that's with Gabe Hall and I forget the other guy's name, not Ty Robinson or somebody
Right.
else with Gabe Hall. Like, and they were looking good. Like, got to be
And
a little bit.
that's the other thing, right? But when you put and the dynamic of that changes
Yeah,
when it's Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis with those two guys on the side. Like
yeah.
the
Then it gets
attention
fucking
that those
scary.
guys get, and you have to scheme to them, and then you leave guys like that on the edge that can get there on a one-on-one. And you
Yep,
saw that, right? The game that they play against Cleveland, right? Those guys are getting snaps against the guys that were playing tackle for the Browns have they're not like rookie free agents. Those are guys that have played in the league for a little while. So I don't know. I'm liking what I'm seeing, and again, you have to take into context who is on the field
yep,
when the dynamic of all these guys, right? And as you know, the NFL Network rolls out the top 100, right? And it's just like on a daily basis, it's like which bird is next. right? Lane Johnson came up today. Zach Baum was up the other day, right? You're still waiting on AJ Brown. I mean, you're going to tell me that there are 35 better players in the NFL than AJ Brown?
No.
You can go scratch on that one. But like you're seeing where these things and where these dynamics kind of show up.
Yeah.
Like on the offensive side, right? Like the talk about the trade for John Mechie real quick because he's probably going to be your he gives you a veteran presence, right? A guy that you know is has the illness coming out of Alabama, but has some of the on-field production. Kind of gets caught in the log jam of the wide receiver room in Houston. Um, Now today the injury news with Johnny Wilson, right? He was
Yeah,
going to
it
be
fucking
your fifth
sucks.
wide receiver at best. He's going to be out for the season with an injury or with a surgery. Where and then the other guy, Darius Cooper, right? Those two guys seem like they've kind of locked into the 4 and the 5 role.
Yeah, I mean, the trade with Mechie was kind of a head scratcher. But then I saw it was like Harrison Bryant and a fifth, and we got a sixth and him back. I mean, Howie loves taking flyers on guys who need to prove it.
Hmm?
And it's not like Michi was a terrible player. I mean, he's a Bama boy, played out opposite of Devonta Smith. Devonta Smith, wore his shirt, with the Bama boys.
When they played.
Yeah, and Michi battled cancer and won and came back to the field. That shit was sad, and it sucked. And you're happy that this guy is able to compete and play the sport that he loves. It was a weird and surprising move. Now it makes sense with the unfortunate
Hmm?
of Johnny Wilson, the injury. Um, Definitely think he's going to probably be your 4, and then Cooper will be your 5. But then I think you're still going to have Adonier going to be most likely your 6 because you're going to need him for kick and punt returns. And Michi can do that as well. So I think you do
Yeah,
carry 6 wide receivers. I mean, Cooper has been hell of impressive
yeah,
this preseason. Dude catches everything. Dude runs crisp routes, solid hands. Um, I'm a, I can't because we know our offense. So that's like us saying, "Hey, we're excited for Dotson being the wide receiver 3." 2 targets a game, if that. Like
yeah.
they don't. It's just when they're out there and 3 wide, you know where the ball's going, and most of the time it's not going to the number 3 because they are the 5th, 6th option on the field at the time.
Right.
Um, Barring injury, I do like that you're bringing Michi in because he can play on the outside.
Hmm.
Um,
And,
it'll be
and
exciting to see. It's not like
yeah,
when fucking guys got hurt and Britton Covey has to go into the outside. It's like Jesus Christ. Like you actually have solid wide receiver depth if something does happen to one of the guys. I mean, you don't want that, but with
right.
AJ and Devonta, like you need guys to step in, be able to run those routes, and I think they have those guys now in the locker room. With Michi and Dotson, 2 guys who can step up. Because let's be real, if they were on another team, they both would probably be starting.
Yeah,
Um,
you're right.
so it's kind of tough. I never understand the Houston burying him on the depth chart type thing because okay, you had Tank Dell and Nico Collins, but that's just kind of strange. And then you
Yeah.
let Diggs go and Tank's out, and it's just Christian Kirk and Nico. It's like very strange to let Michi walk. But again, he probably wanted a fresh start, so they gave it to him. And then they got Harrison Bryant in return, which we still have Dallas Goddard and Kyle Grayson and
Yeah, they've got a little
we're
bit of
good, bro.
yeah,
We're good.
right. They had 5 tight ends in camp, right? So he was going to be a guy that was expendable, and a guy that they brought in this offseason. So like and the picks that they got, they essentially swapped the picks back, the picks that they traded from
Yeah.
the CJ Gardner Johnson trade. They essentially just gave each other back the picks that were exchanged for there. So it's like
Yeah.
it's kind of like a wash. Um, Talk to me about the offensive line, right? Because you have the injury to Landon Dickerson. All
Yeah.
things
Hopefully he's
considered,
back.
the the way I'm reading it is that like they're being very optimistic with the timeline.
Yeah.
Um, you are seeing a little bit of I think if you have Matt Pryor as the guy that would fill in for him, a guy that has played a lot better at guard than he is at tackle,
Yeah.
um, that's a guy that I think could be the guy that fills in if he's not available. But
Yeah.
you know, you got Jordan Mailata out with a concussion, but protocol is that he'll clear protocol and
When did he
probably
get a
be ready
concussion? Enjoyed practice?
a couple days ago.
Ah, fuck.
Um, but the protocol, like, because they're not doing anything, right? It leaves a lot of room for him, and they've got what, a week before they come
Yeah.
back. Like, I
2 weeks.
word is that they're not 2 weeks. Word is that they're not that concerned about it. But the one thing that I think about is the fact that, like, they don't really have the O-line depth behind that initial group that I feel like they've had in years past, right? You've had, right, last year you have Fred Johnson, who was your swing tackle. Um, you have some guys that gave you a little bit of depth if there were any injuries.
Yeah.
The guys behind these guys, you don't really have like a young guy that you're developing who you really like. Um, yeah, Kenyon Green has been very underwhelming. Kendall Lamb is serviceable. That will probably be that swing tackle, but like you're looking at Matt Pryor and and Brett Toth. Um, Drew Kendall's a guy that I think might be able to fill that role if you needed him to play. He's the backup center, but I think he's a guy that if he can play guard or fill in at guard, a
Yeah.
guy that you can kind of develop in the same way that they developed Jurgens when Jurgens was playing guard alongside Kelsey.
Yeah. I mean, that's another thing. Like, not necessarily worried about it. Like you said, like the depth from before.
Hmm.
Okay, we still have Stoutland. Like in Stoutland, we trust. He's going to carry guys who can get the
Very true.
job done. Um, it's not. How can I put it? It's not of as much a concern as if we lose Lane like we do almost every year, like for 3 games. You know that you pray that everybody stays healthy, and but injuries are part of the game. I'm glad we're getting them out now,
Hmm.
in preseason, and we'll see where it goes. Steen's been playing really well. When he gets the opportunity in the preseason, he's looked good, especially against the Bengals' first team defense. He
Yeah,
looked
and
fantastic.
if I'm being honest, that's one of the brighter spots of training camp.
Yeah, you're happy
Is
to see him take the next step.
he kind of just stepped in, right? We were all kind of waiting to see, like, okay, how long is he going to be there, right? Because the last couple of years he's been there, and last year he started there, and 3 practices in gets injured, and then you see Mekhi Becton step in and then never give him his job back. It
Yeah,
seems like he really kind of took over that position and really just said, you don't have to worry about the spot.
yeah, which is what you expected of him coming out of college. So
Yeah.
it's great. I hope Toth gets to make the team because we've only cut him like 13 times. Um, So I mean, it'll just be a good story, and maybe if
Hmm.
and something happens, he takes the opportunity, and he runs with it. Matt Pryor, serviceable, like you said. You just pray nobody gets hurt, and we continue to be a force at offensive line. I mean, you've seen the Falcons just lost 2 of their starting offensive linemen, so that's going to hurt the Falcons. Injuries happen. This is preseason.
Yeah.
This is the shit that you know it happens regardless whether they play in games or it's practice.
Mhm.
Um, I hope, which I know is not going to happen, but I don't think any of the Eagles starters are going to play tomorrow. Um,
Yeah, I can't imagine anybody of any kind of relevant substance
I
plays
wouldn't
tomorrow.
mind seeing it for a drive though, because they always start the season so sluggish, and it's just like, man, I just wish they had reps. But
I
we'll
hear you,
we'll see what
but
happens.
yeah. All right. So Anybody out, like we talked a little bit about guys outside the organization, right? We talked about positions of need on defense at edge and at safety at corner. Any guys that there have been right a handful of trades in the last couple of days, right? You saw Sky Moore go from Kansas City to the 49ers.
Yeah,
You
that's
saw you saw the Jets make a couple trades, right, for a couple of defensive tackles.
yep.
And I know the big name out there, right, is Trey Hendrickson.
Yes.
What what kind of package do you think that they would be looking for?
Dude, I would, for me, to send them, I would give for Trey Hendrickson a number one, a four, and then they need a defensive starter. Um, to be honest with you, like if I can get rid of, I'm not saying it like because I want to, but if you can do a number one and Jeremiah Trotter Jr., I think I'm going to do that all day to give them that linebacker that they need and to give us another edge rusher. I'd be completely content with. Um, but other than that, it's going to be hard because he wants to get paid. So
And that's the thing,
it's
right? They're,
money, man.
they're,
It's
they're
not necessarily what you're willing to give up. It's who are you not signing to sign him.
right. And I think when you look at the impending contracts of guys coming up, when you talk about, Jalen Carter is going to get his deal at some point, either during the season or
Yeah.
in next offseason. Um, if they were smart and they learned any lessons from last year, right? Locking the guy up early before he has an absolutely monster season,
Yeah.
right?
Pay the
When
man.
you look at what happened with Zach Bond, right? You know Jalen Carter's going to get a deal, right? Jordan
Yeah.
Davis kind of playing for that next contract. He's in his fifth year.
Yep.
Um, and then you look at the contracts coming up in the future, right? The Cooper DeJean and Quinny Mitchell are going to be
And we're still 2 years
locked.
away from those guys. So
I'm just saying, like, if you lock up a bunch of money with a guy like Trey Hendrickson for 3-4 years,
yeah,
right? Then
it's tough.
it does. It makes it. I think if it's
But the good thing is we got everybody else on lock for
right,
4 years. So and none of the money is really going to be affected because the cap's going up substantially every year. So get out front. You sign Jalen. You call it a day. You see what Jordan Davis has, and you go from there. The other guys, like I can't worry about too. Howie does crazy things with numbers, so you can't worry too much down the
yeah,
line. It's more or less what do you want to give Cincinnati for Trey Hendrickson? And Don, I wish we could go back to the episode in my side room when it was me, Nick, and Nick, or me, Nick, and Oscar, and we did our draft preview. And I said who I wanted in, I think, the fifth round was Trey Hendrickson because the guy's going to be a fucking monster. And then he gets drafted by the Saints. And I'm like, I called that one. Rich got one right. I think that was like 8 years ago or however long he's been in the league. But yeah,
it's in the archive somewhere.
it's in the archives. It's out there in the universe. Definitely on YouTube. But yeah, I mean, I would love to see Trey Hendrickson be an Eagle. It's just tough to get done. And then
It,
other people are fucking floating out there trading. I saw one of the dumbest things on threads today was the Eagles trade Tanner McGee to Indianapolis for Anthony Richardson and a conditional second round pick that could turn into a first. Get the fuck out of here, dude. I don't
yeah,
want Anthony Richardson and I don't want a conditional. I want a fucking first round pick. That's
yeah,
it. That's the starting price for Tanner McGee is a first round pick.
yeah. I think. Listen,
Anthony
they
Richardson
know
fucking stinks.
he's terrible. One, and I think you make yourself tremendously weaker knowing that you're one play away from having
The deal
a
with
guy
him.
a guy that you don't trust playing meaningful snaps in a season that
A
you have
guy who
aspirations of
took a
going
play
back.
off because he was tired.
I mean, you look at what Tanner McGee gives you and what he's going to give you for the next couple of seasons
Yeah.
at a really, really good price.
Ding ding.
for the team, right?
Yeah,
So
bro.
you've seen him play on the field. You've seen him be uh, more than competent. Like I have, if he's got to step in and play 1, 2 stretch of games, I have no doubt that he can come in
Yeah, we're
and
good.
and sling it around and and essentially manage the offense. He kind of showed you that when he went in and played with AJ Brown and Devon, like when he's going
Yeah.
in and playing, he's doing more than being serviceable. So it's like I don't want to make myself weaker by taking that asset away. And the security of the backup quarterback now
Yep.
means so much more than the draft pick next year.
Yep. Yep. Don, you hit it on the head. But I mean, there are some teams who would fucking kill to have Tanner McGee. I know the Vikings would be one. I know the Saints would be one. I know the fucking New York stinking Jets would be one because Justin Fields apparently has been fucking garbage. So I
Yeah,
mean,
I mean,
it's going to be one of those things.
Danny Dimes is starting for the Colts.
Yeah,
Like it's bad.
like those two were taking equal reps in preseason games to try to figure out going against teams number twos and threes, and both guys could not get the fucking job done. It was insane that nobody wanted to win that starting job, but Anthony Richardson just played. Anthony Richardson completed, I think, 13 passes the one game for 68 yards in the preseason. I think he averaged like 2.8 yards a throw. Like, what? How can you be a professional quarterback who was drafted what, number 2 overall? Wasn't he number 2?
Yeah. Mhm.
How the fuck can you be that bad? Like, I get it. We've seen it in the Ryan Leafs and the Tim Couches and the Jamarcus Russells, but holy fucking crap! My whole thing was when he took the playoff last year because he was fucking tired and went to the sidelines. And coach is like, "What's the matter? You hurt?" He goes, "No, I'm just tired." I'd be like, "Bro, get the fuck out of here! Like, just walk home." Like, I want to entertain none of that. Like, but a lot of teams could be in the market for Tanner McGee, which is a great thing. But I also that's not a guy I'm moving on from. Joe's boy looks all much the part of a rookie. Uh, Indecisive, but has a big arm. But again,
I
he's
mean,
going to learn. And
along
Dorial
the same line
Thompson Robinson fucking
Tanner
stinks.
McGee a couple years ago, right? Tanner McGee was like we kind of thought the same thing about him a couple years ago, right? So it costs you absolutely nothing to have those guys on the roster and be able to develop them in the system the way that you want to, right? And it's very rare that you get a guy that comes directly out of college, drafted
Yeah.
late in the draft, that looks polished
Yeah.
right away. So I,
I mean, Cam Ward doesn't look too good in Tennessee right now. Jackson Dart looks good in whatchamacallit right now.
New
But
York,
who else was drafted? Like Shador Sanders not couldn't beat out Joe Flacco. What other rookie quarterbacks who were drafted this year are starting or who were drafted higher even being mentioned? None of them. Like that's what I would like to know. None of them are making noise or even competing for a respected role on said teams. But the teams who waited or signed terrible quarterbacks, it's going to be funny to see. And
yeah. Listen, you're talking about right. So at just at the top, right? Cam Ward is going to start. Jackson Dart could, but might not until the middle of the season, right?
yeah,
And then you go right. The kid in New Orleans, Tyler Shuff, right?
yeah,
He's battling with Spencer Rattler. They can't make a decision about the
two
two of them,
dudes who stink.
right? Jalen Milrose not playing in Seattle. Dylan
No,
Gabriel and Shador Sanders couldn't beat out Joe Flacco, like you said. And then you talk about like Kyle McCord and Will Howard, right? Riley Leonard. They like you're talking. You could see a situation where you see one quarterback from this draft class start,
yep,
and it's only because they've been absolutely putrid at that position for a long time
yeah.
in Tennessee. So,
Yep, that's the truth.
yo, well, Rich, um, it's come to that point where we can discuss fantasy.
Ooh.
In the high stakes world of fantasy football, the managers who obsess over stats and waiver wires are part of an elite squad known as the fantasy unit. These are their stories.
What? So, Rich, we had the Golden Mike
We
fantasy
do.
draft.
Yeah.
We're gearing up for the season, right? We also have our John in order. Uh,
Yes,
it,
we do. I'm excited
I've
about
just
that.
kind of settled on it's a combination between fantasy football
And
and
daily.
and survive and a survivor pool,
Yes, it
right?
is.
So you pick one guy, you better pick right because that's your only shot to use them for the entire season.
There's 18 weeks and there's only 8 good quarterbacks, so it is going to be funky. But guess who I'm using week 1, motherfucker? I ain't telling you until the show, Don.
Well, you
But I
can't.
got my dude locked in, ready to go.
Nice.
I'm excited.
Yeah. So listen, any kind of takeaways from the fantasy draft?
For our fantasy draft, no, it kind of went weirdly according to plan. Not many reaches besides, Britt lifts. Shout out to Britt. Just auto drafting her first 3 picks, but she's got solid wide receivers, so good for her. No, it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. I got some guys that I wanted. I might have reached for Joe Mixon a little early,
Okay.
so it hurts with my fifth or my second flex spot. But I got Dallas Goddard sliding in there, see what he can do. Um, it's going to be another one of those years. You look at everything. I mean, Jamar Chase should have went 101 overall, but Joe being the homer, you knew it was going to be Saquon, um, and then just gifted the number 2 spot, Jamar Chase, to Nick. Like I knew that was going
Yeah.
to happen. I mean, just consensus over the board. It's Jamar Chase over everybody because of how terrible Cincinnati is. Um,
Yeah.
there's a lot of different things you got to look at into the season, and my strategy this year is kind of drafting players on good teams. Um, teams that are going to put up points. It's really good to
Yeah.
have like these bad guys on bad teams, but at the end of the day, it's like, do you really want the Travis Hunters of the world like in the 5th round? No thanks. Do I want the Marvin Harrisons in the 3rd round or 2nd round? No thanks. Do I want I don't know, any of the wide receivers in San Fran? No thanks, even with the cake schedule. And then the same thing you can say for Seattle.
Yeah.
JSN going in the 2nd round. I mean, cool. I'll wait until the 10th round and draft Cooper Cup. If I'm doing that, I mean,
Yeah.
JSN should be really good. But again, it's Sam Darnold and no line. And we know what Sam Darnold does with no line. He
Right.
throws interceptions and looks like shit. He's not Geno. He doesn't have the legs to move around in the pocket. Are you drafting any Dolphins this year? Maybe. But what happens when Tua gets hurt? It kills the whole fucking team. So
Right.
you kind of
You
gotta
got to
like
remember that
learn your
the,
lessons from the past.
the mother slayer is the backup quarterback in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
So like,
Big arm, no noggin. I mean, that's good for
yeah.
airing the
Yeah.
ball out to Tyreek Hill, but who knows if it's actually going to be an accurate throw?
Yeah. And to kind of speak to what you're talking about, like I tried to go at it a little bit differently this year. I tried to look at one, what you were saying was like not drafting guys from shitty teams, right? We know that there are going to be pockets of those things where like
Yeah,
they have like somebody on the team is going to have to catch the ball. Someone's going to
yeah,
have to put up some points, but like, are you really getting the value for the guys at the position where you're drafting them? And then I was looking at like if I can get those like because when you look at like the way that our drafted or the way that our teams are constructed, right, you're going to need multiple guys at the skill positions.
yep,
So like trying to draft a lot of those guys early. When I saw the quarterbacks getting picked early, that was something that was like intriguing to me because I'm like, every time that there's a person that picked a quarterback ahead of me, that means that there's a skill position guy that's going to fall. And I'm looking for those guys. And then,
Yeah.
I think it wasn't until like I can't remember where it was in the draft, but it was like pick 6, 7, 8, where I was able to get Justin Herbert, which
Yeah.
is a guy that like is going to put up points and a guy that's going to throw the ball around. But at the same time, I was able to get guys like Jameer Gibbs and get guys like Bucky Irvin and get T
Yep.
Higgins and and get guys that I know are going to be in positions to put up points and still get the value for you know those guys. And then at the back end, right, looking at guys that are going to be in backup roles
Yep.
that you can potentially flip or keep for your team that really don't cost you anything because those picks at the end of the draft normally are the guys that you kind of like flip in and out of the waiver wire.
Yeah. I mean, Brian Robinson went in, I think, the ninth round in our league, and then I went out and picked up Crosby Merritt, because they're
Yeah.
all raving about him. So you have to, it's like, oh, well, you draft too early, you draft too late. It is what it is, but you got to keep your ear. Nobody wins at the draft. You don't win fantasy football at the draft. It's the moves you make afterward because your teams aren't going to be healthy. Guys are going to come out of fucking nowhere. The Puka Nakuas of the world just come out of nowhere and you pick them
Yeah.
up and then they dominate. And then in 2 years, they're a second round pick, first round pick. I want
Well,
to I like looking at the draft, and this was a year I can say, and I've already had two drafts. In my two drafts, I've drafted quarterbacks higher than I ever had. So in this league, I won after Joe Burrow because I knew in our league it's tight end premium. I didn't grab one of the better tight ends
yeah.
until later in the draft, but I was happy. But I looked at it as okay, well, everybody's making their run on wide receivers and they're doing this and the quarterbacks are coming off. Well, I'm going to grab a guy who's going to have to put up 45 fantasy points to win. I mean, they're going to
Yeah.
have to score 50 points. So he's going to be throwing the ball 60. I'm not even going to lie. There's probably going to be a game where he has to throw the ball 70 times for
Well,
them
and
to
Rich,
win and play catch up.
when
So,
you look at Cincinnati, right, they're going to probably be, because of how bad the defense is, they're going to probably be in positions to have to just throw the ball all the
yeah.
time.
They're
Um,
they were giving up to Washington in the preseason an average of 20 yards per run at one point.
it's so bad. It's
And
so
they
bad.
won't pay Trey Hendrickson. It makes me fucking laugh. Like Joe Burrow they are going to win 5 games this year, and they are going to give up. I'm not even going to lie. I'm going to say probably over 800 points. That's a lot of points.
Ah, that's a
But
lot
I
of
think
points.
they're going to give up over 750, 800 points. Their defense is
Yeah,
just atrocious. There's nothing
it's
good.
that bad. Yeah,
It's
and
that
listen,
bad.
one of the guys that I kind of took a chance on late in the draft, right? I think it was in like, I think it was post round 10. I can't remember where, but like Chris Godwin was a guy
Yeah.
that I was like, I'll take a chance on, right? He's still there, still hanging around, right? And then the news drops today that the Bucks are going to activate him and put him on the 53, right? Does that mean
Yeah.
he still might not play in those first
No.
couple weeks, but like by week 4, 5, 6, right? He's going to be a guy that has a real good connection with Baker Mayfield, right?
Yep.
Has a real good opportunity to, you know, and he's a guy that always catches the ball, always in space, and the Bucks are going to sling the ball all over the field when they're not run and play, after the run and play action with Bucky Irving, right?
Yep.
The opportunity for those guys to have is and again, right? Those picks at the end of the draft are guys that like you just take chances on.
Yeah. I mean, and most of the leagues, again, like what I try to tell people, I just had a draft. It was guys who I played baseball with this summer. Um, they're like, "Hey, we're doing a fantasy league. You want to do it?" I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Oh, we're going to do 8 teams because we can't get anybody." I'm like, "Great." And it's the third round. I'm a guy who, when I join a league, I look at the scoring. So the first thing I see in scoring is passing touchdowns 4, rushing is 6. I go in the third round. Okay, well, I want the advantage to the position. Boom, I draft Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Why? Because he gets 10 rushing touchdowns a year and he throws for a bunch. It's guys like that you want. Or Jalen Hurts. Everyone's like, oh, well, the quarterback, oh, you started the quarterback run too early. Well, no, you have to look at your league settings. And especially in an 8 team league, you need the advantage in almost every single position because
Yeah.
everybody's team is stacked. So where I lack in tight end because I have Tyler Warren, I make up for with Josh Allen. So there's the give and the take. But even in that draft, I left the draft with everybody I wanted, with more people that I could have drafted in on the waiver wire. I'm like my guys this year I really like are Tet McMillan. Like I love Tet. I think he's
Yeah.
going to be great. And people fail to realize that Carolina from week 12 on, they were a top 5 offense. They were scoring 25 point something points a game. So they were putrid in the beginning and then they turned it on. Bryce Young looked like a competent quarterback. Chuba looked really good. That's a
Yeah.
team that I'm going to say I'm going to look out for. But then there's guys, who I am looking down on. And especially now it's in draft season. As much as I love Bijan Robinson, they're off. They just lost 2 offensive linemen today, 2 starters. Am I
Mm-hmm.
paying a three overall for him? Probably not.
No.
He's going to get hit. I don't care how good you are and how elusive you are. Those hits take a toll on your body. I'm not a fan of drafting any Falcons players this year. Yeah, Drake London should be good, but if Michael Penix fucking sucks and has
Well,
nobody to
and
protect
he
him,
right,
good
he
fucking
can't
luck.
stay upright, then
Yeah,
and
nobody's
that's where
good.
it goes back to what you described at the very beginning, right? Looking at guys that are in good systems with
Yeah,
good teams that are going to be in positions to stay healthy. They just have so much more value
yeah,
than those guys that because those guys, Rich, that you're describing are going to have those pops, right? They're going to have those gains where,
yeah,
Bijan goes for, 150 and 2 touchdowns, right? You're going to
yep.
have Drake London who's going to, catch, 7 balls for 120 and 3 touch. Like they're going to have those games,
Yeah, they're gonna
but,
do them. We know
but,
this.
but you're also going to have 5 weeks in between where he gets 2 points, 1 point,
Yeah,
and it essentially costs you a game.
it's the consistency factor of it, and that's why I'm looking at it. It's like, okay, well, do I want Christian McCaffrey if I can get him in the second round? Fuck yeah! Like in the second round, in the first round, no, I'm not taking him.
Yeah.
Okay, where's the argument lie? The argument lies, well, the injuries and all that nonsense, but there's nobody else. Okay, if there's nobody else, and if I can get George Kittle in the fourth round, maybe I'm taking George Kittle because I should have my wide receiver 1, my running back 1, and whatever else piece I need because running back depth is huge this year. There's a lot of guys who are falling. There's a lot of guys who are still out there. I mean, RJ Harvey's getting drafted like he's going to be the starter when it's JK Dobbins who's going in the 13th round.
Yeah.
You have the Caleb Johnsons of the world, but you still have him playing behind Kenny Gainwell. So everybody's taking a shot on Caleb Johnson. Well, that's a great shot to take in the ninth, but Kenny Gainwell is going to get you 2 solid weeks of starting. So
Yeah.
in the beginning of the season, you want guys who are going to be the projected starters. Do I want to hold on to the young guys? Yeah, if I drafted in front that, hey, I can hold these guys because I don't need a starter. But again, you win in the waiver wire. Okay. If Kenny Gainwell gives me a solid week 1 and a solid week 2, and they turn to Caleb in week 5, 6, cool. Kenny Gainwell's already dropped. I got somebody else. I picked up whoever else was hot. They're saying there's going to be a split in Minnesota between or Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. Am I wasting a fourth round pick on Aaron Jones then? No, I'm probably going to wait for the 15th round and I'll pick Jordan Mason or I'll get him off the waiver wire because the guy's essentially free. Like these
Yeah.
are the things you have to look about. You read what they're saying in camp and then you go from there. I my one team, our Golden Mike League, I think I got Nico Collins and Brian Thomas. And I absolutely love that. Or I have it in the other league. Like 2 guys who I absolutely want. Give me all of Nico, give me all of Brian Thomas. I'm happy with that. And stay away from fucking injuries. If a guy has a soft tissue injury 2 weeks before the season starts, don't
You
draft
know
him.
that. Yeah.
I'm
You know that
I'm
that you know that shit's gonna linger.
Oh,
you know it.
yeah, Devon Achan relies on speed. A guy who relies on speed has a strained calf. Hmm. Is that an injury? Well, I want to fuck around with. It's not like AJ Brown's precautionary hamstring. Yeah, he's got a hamstring. AJ Brown's always good, but he also doesn't only rely on the fact that he can run a 4.2.
Right.
No, my man's strong as shit, runs slants, catches whatever the fuck he wants. Devon Achane has to run straight and he has to get top speed real quick because he's this big.
Yeah.
Like, monitor what you're doing before you draft. That's all I'm saying. And
Okay.
always look at league settings. Because Nick fucking texts me. I'm like, Kyle Pitts, bro? And he goes, well, everybody want tight ends. I'm like, you know it's tight end premium, right? Oh, man, I didn't fucking know that. I'm like, bro, it literally says TEP on our league, and it's in the fucking settings. Read
That's
the
right.
settings of where you're
Yeah,
drafting.
and Rich, just
Know your
before
scoring.
before we go into final thoughts, right? That was like the number one reason, right, why I looked at the situation in Cleveland with Njoku and
Oh, yeah.
go, all right, well, Flacco's right. How many times do you think you're going to see Flacco dumping it off to Njoku in the flat, right? Like,
And Joku's a fucking monster.
and did
I
you
loved
see
him
him
at the
with his
U, and I love him on the Browns. He just needs
did
to
you
stay healthy.
see him with his shirt off at the joint practice? He looked like an absolute monster.
He played a fucking football game with second degree burns on his face. Dude's a nut. Like, give
It's
me all of David and Joku. He's a
yeah. So
warrior.
like I saw him later in the draft, and I'm going, oh, okay. I'm looking at the
Yeah.
quarterback situation, looking at like I took I'm looking at Joe Flacco and going, okay, well, I could see an opportunity there for that could be the safety valve for Joe
Yep.
Flacco.
Yeah,
Perfect. If
1000%.
not, go move on. Rich, final thoughts.
Final thoughts, man. To be honest with you, thoughts and prayers to the families who were fucking upended today because of the hoax active shooter at Villanova. Um, I read that story and I'm like, really, it's moving day, and there is a fake call in for an active shooter. Like, some of these kids is their first time away from home.
Is
Like,
that what that was? I
yeah,
saw that come across, and I didn't see the follow up on it.
yeah, it was a
That's
fake,
horrible.
yeah, and it was like the second one across the United States today for like colleges who are moving in. Like, it's absurd, and I'm sad of the direction like that this whole fucking country and that everybody is going. And I don't like being saying these things on here, but like I couldn't imagine like my son going to fucking Villanova, like a prestigious school he wanted to go into, first time away from home. And the day you're moving in, you're fucking traumatized by a fake active shooter and you're told to shelter in place because somebody's running around shooting up the fucking campus. Like, this shit that either kids or whoever are doing it and all these bullshit TikTok things that all these kids are fucking doing and just out there to like be assholes and think it's fucking cool. It's not. Like, we really, as a whole fucking nation and group of people, need to grow the fuck up and learn how to act in society and how to treat others because we were told to respect everybody. I was taught to respect who you are for who you are and not do dumb shit. And it's fucking pissed me off when I read that about Villanova because my neighbor goes to Villanova and all I could think about was him. Like, I hope he's okay. I know he's back at school. And it makes me fucking mad because if I was a parent, like, find out whoever the fuck did that and
Right.
throw them the fuck away because it's not something to fuck about. Uh, so yeah, just do better, man. Just like everybody out there, just do better. Show compassion for your fellow people. And I'm sorry that
Yeah.
those families had to go through that because just shit's
It,
getting so out of hand now. It's sad. It's sad, and I hate the
it
way
really is.
shit's going.
And it's it's the kind of thing where it's like you don't ever know what the motivation is, but the the fact that someone thought that right, like I'm gonna do this because I'm gonna either gonna be disruptive or I'm gonna be anti whatever it is. Like what are we really doing? Like what like that, and that's the part that's hard. Is
Yeah,
like and it numbs people to
Yeah,
the
the real
alertness
emergencies.
that you need
Yep.
when you do have a situation that's real. Um, and that's the hard part, right? Because then people are like, oh, well, it's probably nothing. It wasn't anything last time. Probably nothing this time. So it's like those situations require alertness and preparedness, and you want to you never want to be in a situation where you handle something like that with any kind of passive, like attention.
It
Um,
it fucking grinds my gears, Don. Like you being a teacher
I
and
can
having to
imagine.
do the shelter in place drill like once a fucking month when Ollie has to do it at his school and I get the text like where we have like devolved and
Oh yeah,
retrogressed as people. It's just it's fucking mind boggling,
yeah,
man.
it's
Like
crazy. I had a 2 hour PD on emergency like emergency precaution preparedness things. Like it's just be and it's become the norm,
so
right?
fucked.
Because we have to be prepared to do it because it is part of it's part of what's happening right now, and it's just sad. It really is. But Rich, final thoughts for me. Right, the news with Zach Wheeler. Um,
Oh yeah.
make your doctor's appointments, people. Like if something doesn't seem right, go get it checked out. Right,
Hmm.
something like what happened with Zach Wheeler and the blood clot. Right, thankfully it was caught early. Thankfully they had the ability to be able to take care of it, and now he can kind of be on the other side of it, and you know, and then but right, like those are things that can be deadly, and those are silent things. Those are things that like it's not a baseball injury, it's not a hamstring, it's not a it's not an ACL tear. Like those are things that are happening that you really do have to pay attention to. So like if things are coming up, get it checked out, make your doctor's appointments, do what you got to do. So
Ain't that the fucking truth?
on that note, Rich, take us home.
Well, I'm Rich, and that's Don. We are Drunk on Broad. And as always, you stuck around, you fucked around, and you found out fuck Dallas, fuck Spike Eskin, fuck Ben Simmons, Davion Taylor. I still gotta say fuck you because it always pops up and it makes Joe happy. And fuck Justin Tucker and all the other assholes out there. We are Drunk on Broad. Thanks for joining us. We'll check you guys out next week.
Go
Go
Birds.
Birds!